Hi, my name is Sandra. I'm CEO, CMO of Greyd, and today I want to show you some use case examples for a really powerful feature that we have added to the block editor, which is conditional content. This feature enables you to basically build several versions of your websites based on conditions, and since Greyd.Suite is integrated natively into the block editor of WordPress, this not just works within the Greyd theme, but with any other block theme you might want to use. Since conditional content block is simply like a wrapper for your content blocks. So let's have a look at some use case examples that were built using conditional content. Let's say, for example, this is my default version of my website, but I have a newsletter campaign and promoting new arrivals. So I would want those newsletter visitors to see those new arrivals in a highlighted box, like here. But let's say I have a different campaign, an ad campaign running in parallel, promoting a 20% discount. So I would want to see those visitors to see this 20% discount right here on the page, which I can do here. To build that, all you have to do is wrap those different versions, so those different content versions of your websites in a conditional content block and define which version is to be displayed based on which conditions. In our case, as you can see, there are lots of different possibilities for conditions. In our case, it was a URL parameter. And here again, there are lots of possibilities, so you can work with a couple of standard campaigns, or like I did, just create an individual parameter, which I said is just simply a, and define which value you would have here. You can also work with AND or conditions, and that's simply it. After the same principle, for example, we could say, okay, I might want to make this user role based because this 20% discount is only available for some premium customers. So I could create a gated content section on my website that is only visible for logged in users of this particular user group. Really easy to build that since we also have a couple of user role based conditions here, also logged in or not logged in, for example. Same goes for time conditions. Let's say this 20% discount is only available at a certain time frame. So let's go down there and say, okay, I want to make this time dependent and I want an individual time. So now it's 9:32. So let's say between 9:33 and 10, we would want this special discount to be shown. And you can even force this to be updated live on the page. So even if the visitor does not refresh the page, he or she would see the updated content anyway. So now all we have to do, this condition isn't available anymore. So all we have to do is wait. I didn't define a condition for this section here. So the new section with the 20% offer should just appear below in a couple of seconds. Let's wait for this to happen. And here it is. It's 9:33 now, and as you can see, automatically, without me refreshing the page, the 20% discount has appeared on my website. What you could also do, as you can see here, we also have a couple of form parameters available here. So if you also use a form to render Greyd forms, what you could do, for example, is what we did on our website. We created a thank you page that showed different versions depending on which form was filled, depending on the current opt-in or opt-out status, etc. So if you have lots of forms on your website, there's no need to create dozens of different thank you pages for each form and for an opt-in, opt-out, etc. You could all do it on the same page. So these were just some examples of what you could do with conditional content to show different content versions. What you can also do, you could use conditional content in relation with posts and post types and query loops. So for example, very common thing, you have, for example, a testimonial query loop. And for some of those testimonials, you might have photos, from others not. So obviously, you would only want the field photo to be shown if there is a photo, and otherwise you would maybe want to have some layout changes. So what you could do is you could place your conditional content block right within your query loop and define a condition based on whether the post meta field photo is set or not. Also in here with the pricing panels here, if a feature is included in a plan, we have it displayed in black with the check mark and a little popover with a feature description. And if it's not included, if it has this X here in red and no description. So how we did that in the backend is we used a query loop and built this with a post type called features. And we have several conditions here saying if the feature is included, then choose this layout. If it's not included, then choose this layout. Because we wouldn't want a content editor having to deal with all those different design options, adding a popover, have different list icons and colors and all that, because chances are that he or she will break the page doing that. But you would want to have this managed automatically. So all the content editor now has to do on a post level is mark a checkbox, is it included or not, and everything else is handled with the condition here right in the query loop. So you can see here's the query loop, and here we have the conditional content block, and here we have the different versions. According to the same principle, you could also do something like we did here in our help center. Here we have, this is all one query loop, but altering the post display, one on the right, one on the left, again one on the right, etc. And we also did this using a conditional content block in the post overview or the post slider. And we made it dependent from the post index and said one layout for odd and one layout for even, and that's it. So lots of different possibilities. These have just been some examples of the amazing things you could do with our conditional content block. As I said, you can also combine different conditions. You can have it updated live. There's a debug mode to set it up, etc., etc. So for a more detailed tutorial, please also have a look at our Help Center website.